People, today I have 5 Kirkland inspired dupes for you as part of the Duping Through the Holidays playlist series. And for our first dupe, I'm going to need a bunch of Dollar Tree's Tumbling tower blocks. To attach these pieces, we're going to be using my favorite type on wood glue and some hot glue. And of course, my first attempt at using this hot glue, it dropped on my nail. You want to talk about panicked? Mother. People, I was scared it was going to burn right through my nail. Oh my gosh. I did get it off. I was okay, but what a way to start the video. I was ready to throw in the towel right there. I was like, forget these Kirkland dupes. I almost lost a finger. Okay, enough about my near-death experience. We are going to attach 10 tumbling tower blocks together, and then we're going to take those rows and attach them together. We'll need 4 rows, so you'll use a total of 40 tumbling tower blocks to create this. You could probably use painter sticks or some thin trim if you have that as well. I had tumbling blocks on hand and I thought this would look pretty amazing for this dupe. I also allowed this to sit overnight because I knew I was going to be pressing on this and wanted to make sure the pieces did not fall apart. Plus, I had a little extra time. Sometimes when I'm in a rush, I'm like 30 minutes and we gotta wing this. But luckily for me, for this particular project, I prepped. Once it dried, I applied Antique Waverly Wax. Now, your staining preferences are entirely up to you. There are so many ways to do this, and feel free to do this prior. It is just easier for me to do it all at one time. It took me a whole 3 minutes to take a little sponge soaked up in some Antique Waverly Wax and get this on here. Let it completely dry, okay, before you come back with your pencil. You can use a ruler for this. I had this piece of wood just sitting around and all I'm doing is finding the center here. And then I am going to also go right down the center. And then we're also going to go down the center sideways, horizontal ways, however you want to say it, vertical, all the things. I'm taking the tiniest paintbrush I own and I'm going to add white paint onto it. And we're going to use this piece of wood to make sure these white lines are as straight as possible. Now, I highly recommend if you guys own a white chalk marker, do you guys know what I'm talking about? Or some Posca pens, the paint Posca pens, use those instead of this. This was very tedious and it was a pain, and even though I sped this up, it took me about an hour to paint this snowflake. I was rather ticked because it was not as perfect as I wanted it to be. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I just know that for me, I am capable of so much better when it comes to the painting realm, and it just wasn't happening with the lines. So as I was going through the process, I had one of those markers. I went looking for it. And mine was dried out. I was so pissed. I was like, oh, well, we're just going to keep on painting. And then I'm just going to tell my people what I would have did if I had it. So I'm letting y'all know I love this project. At the end of the day, I love the end result and how it turned out. I wouldn't mind doing the tree either, because if you check the Kirkland's website, they also had a tree like this. And I love both of them. I was going to do the set, but I was low on tumbling blocks, and then as I'm going through on this, I'm like, no way am I going to paint a tree too. As frustrating as this is, and my pen don't work, or my little chalk thing, but if I had it, we would have definitely did the tree, and this would have probably turned out a little bit neater than it did. But I absolutely love the end result at the end of the day. Let me know what you guys think about this one. For this project, you can really use any arched piece that you find. They carry them at Target. I was lucky enough to grab this at Dollar Tree when they had them. They even have unfinished ones at Michael's and Hobby Lobby. And since our dupe is black, I came in real lucky having this on hand. I did not have any black rope or twine or anything like that, string. So I just took some black paint and painted up the twine. While that was drying, I also covered in the little spot that we had in the middle here where it was stuck with our other piece. And I didn't have any of the exact greenery, so I took one of these little pieces and just cut them on up to add on to our little wreath that I picked up here from Hobby Lobby. This came in a pack. I think it was 4 or 6. I was just at Hobby Lobby and seeing these suckers and can't even remember. I then just attached everything onto our arch piece, and it is hard to believe this little piece came from Dollar Tree. Definitely a budget-friendly option compared to the $19.99 dupe. This was actually my favorite piece that I found on Kirkland's website to dupe. Now, our church is not going to have lights, but our little firehouse will, okay? The church is an ornament from Dollar Tree, and the firehouse is also from Dollar Tree. However, the firehouse lights up. So I grabbed that so you could see 2 options here. The church, of course, has glitter all over it, so I got to deal with that first. I'm taking everything off of this church, and then I'm taking it and giving it a nice old wash in the soap with hot water and some dish detergent. Once that dried, we're going to apply a light coat of Mod Podge. That's just going to stick down any of this extra glitter. If you're lucky enough to get a piece that the glitter is on there, you do not have to do all that, skip all this. Unfortunately, I had to. And if you got the spray Mod Podge, that works great too. I didn't have any of this on hand. And that extra step, it really only took me a whole 10 minutes. It wasn't like it added a lot of time onto this project. I then took some white chalk paint and covered both pieces. And if you want, you're welcome to do this as much as you want it. But to me, those houses look like they had different variations in color. So, and even some texture. So I decided to do the chalk paint first. And then once these dried, I took them outside to give them a nice coat of this spray paint for all my ASMR lovers. I didn't have the exact greenery, but I did have something sort of close in my stash. And I had these little branch pieces from something I picked up at Dollar Tree last year. The church itself had some white on the greenery, so I just dry brushed a little bit on these pieces and started gluing them on here. The more I started adding on to these little pieces, the more I wish I had little houses. More little houses to make more of these pieces. I love rustic things, and these just make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Let me know what you guys think about these. I absolutely love how the firehouse looks with the lights inside. I was not expecting to love this as much as I do, but I absolutely adore these pieces. Introducing the easiest DIY I have ever done on my channel. I picked this up from Ross a couple years ago when I first moved into my house. I obviously painted this piece up, and it's been sitting in my closet, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I was going to throw it out. And here you can see I did rip the tag off, but I'm pretty cheap, so I know I didn't spend over $10 on this piece. We're going to take this chalked charcoal and just spray paint it on up. It took 2 coats of this to get a nice layer on here, but man, if that doesn't look amazing and super, super spot on to the type of decor piece Kirkland's had, and a lot cheaper. Welcome to Duping Through the Holidays playlist series. This is an event I host on my channel every November. Here is the lineup for this month. All the creators pitch in every year to give back to the community, and we are doing $60 Amazon electronic gift cards. There are 4 of these to be won. One will be given away for each week. Each week, the creators will be picking out giveaway questions, and you must answer those questions in their comments. For example, it's Kirkland's this week, so if you want a chance to win this week's giveaway, make sure you're responding to each creator's question that is duping Kirkland's this week. When we choose our winner, They will all be randomized, and I will reach out to you on December 1st in the comments if you won, and you will need to contact me for further instructions on how to get your gift card. And if you have any further questions about duping through the holidays or the giveaways, please check my community tab out. I will have a post there and be answering any questions or concerns. My comments are going to be saturated in these videos, and they will probably get missed if you put it in these comments other than your responses for the giveaway questions. So if this sounds like fun to you, make sure you're stopping by every week to see the creators' dupes. And here's my giveaway question this week. I've been painting a lot of trees this Christmas season, and I figured let's do a scenery because I'm multi-talented like that. We're going to use a Dollar Tree canvas. You can use whatever size canvas you want. This is what I had on hand. And we're going to create our backdrop blending these two colors together. Because once we flick our snow on here, we want a little bit of a contrast. We don't want just that white background. And the actual picture itself has it looking like there is definitely some different color than just a plain white canvas on there. Next, I'm just drawing some straight lines where the trees are going to be, like the different levels. And mind what I'm using. Listen, I just grab whatever, okay? I don't know where a ruler is around this joint, so I improvise. Above our trees, there is like a shadowing. So to create that effect, I'm mixing a little bit of brown and black together, and we're going to create that effect as well. I'm also making sure the brush is really dry when I go to apply this. So there's just a very minimal amount of paint on the brush. And then I'm basically starting below where I know the trees are going to be and just pulling the brush upwards and loosely, so we do not leave any end marks. We want it to just look like that fades right into our sky. Next, I'm just going to take my finger. You can use a paper towel or a baby wipe for this, whatever you want. I'm just taking my finger and just smudging the brown at the very top to blend it into the sky a little bit more. And I'm just going to pop up a picture right here so you guys can see the final look I'm going for. Next, I'm taking the brush again, making sure it's super dry, and I'm going to just add a little bit more of heavier color variations in certain spots. Next, we're going to start applying our black tree background, and I'm just using the same paintbrush I started using. We're going to go up and down and sideways. Up and down is going to indicate our tree tops, and sideways is going to indicate the width of our trees. You can do this in a patting motion or a thin line back and forth. Just make sure you do not have a ton of paint on the brush. Once I was happy with the treetops, I then just started taking the black paint and really filling in the bottom. I did some padding and I did some long strokes with the brush, just making sure I fill in most of the white canvas. I did not leave a whole lot of white, but just a little bit, because we are trying to make it look like there's different layers in our trees and levels and some depth. Before I started the next color, I decided to completely dry the canvas with the heat gun instead of waiting. I'm a little impatient. I'm sure some of you guys can relate. Who hates waiting for paint to dry? Nobody wants to do that. Next, I'm taking a really light gray. Any light gray will get this accomplished. I'm pretty sure it's still the same granite gray I used to blend the backgrounds. And a fan brush. I felt at this point, since we pretty much have our black background, now it's time to really kind of bring in that tree aesthetic, and fan brushes are perfect for doing that with trees. And I do not have this sped all the way up, so you can see that I am literally just taking the fan brush and I am angling it and tapping each side one at a time. I've painted so many different types of trees this year. I am confident that those of you that can't paint, if you couldn't paint before this year, I'm gonna have you paint a tree. Some kind of tree. Send me some pictures in my email or Instagram me. I want to see your trees. Next year I'll have to do snowman or gift boxes or something. Every year we'll just have to find something new for me to paint all holiday season to help y'all along your journeys. There were not a whole lot of the gray trees in our painting, so I just did a couple just to have that extra layer in here. And then I'm gonna just use a white paint to create our white trees. In total, it took me a little over an hour to paint this, and honestly, it's so stunning. It belongs on a much larger canvas, in my opinion. This is something you could keep up all year long in your house. If you got a spare toothbrush, I recommend that for this part. I did not, so I am just using a paintbrush, and we are flicking some snow all over the top of our canvas. I do hope you guys will give this a try. If you do, feel free to send me a message on Instagram or email me a picture. I love seeing people's DIYs and having them share those things with me. I know so many of you say you love to watch me paint, so I hope you're getting your fill of that this season. I surely have been enjoying these pieces I've been making for you. I also hope you are enjoying duping through the holidays. The playlist is down in my description box if you want to check out the ladies I am duping with this week. If you're new this week, welcome, and you're just coming on in, stop on by the playlist as well. Check out the creators from last week. Get your responses into their giveaway questions to be entered in a chance to win that giveaway by November 30th. Until next time, bye!